Free beer and hot wings in the morning. Grand Rapids rocks all day. 97.9 GRD rocks.
Morning showers. You know that by this point because it's been raining all morning. 63 the high. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Right now it's about 53. And supposedly the rain has ceased.
It doesn't. I mean,
look great.
It looks a little soggy out, but
It
doesn't.
It didn't look like a particularly wide band when I looked at the radar earlier today.
And it's cloudy, but it is not middle of winter depression shade of gray.
No.
Yeah, that's for sure. Justin, I just sent you another story for after this one. This is a very short one. It's kind of exciting. Somebody in West Michigan is a millionaire at this point, or they're about to be.
That's awesome.
I mean, not just a millionaire, but a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Someone from Greenville.
West Michigan could have a new multi-millionaire. The state lottery says someone bought a Lotto 47 ticket worth more than $22 million at an Easy Mart in Greenville.
Oh, my God. They'll be able to buy Greenville.
Right.
Seriously.
First thing they'll do is close down that Danish festival.
It's not that big.
That store is located on M57 and South Clay Street. The winner matched all 6 numbers and can take a one-time lump sum payment of $14.3 million or an annual payout of $751,000 a year for 30 years.
I'll take that.
30 years. What are you, crazy? The average lifespan there is 33 years.
That if you die before it completes, it goes to your family, right?
It does, yeah.
They don't just get to hope you die. Like, all right, well, you're taking the lifetime payout annually for 30 years. By the way, here's some cigarettes and some meth.
No, that is, that's your money.
Don't forget to take up shooting. The demolition derby, you bet. Rock climbing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd still take the lump sum.
Just
invest it.
Well, at $14 million, yeah.
I would always be concerned if you say, okay, I'm going to take $700,000 a year for the next 30 years, which sounds great, but I would always wait. In 2 years, they go, oh, bad news, state's bankrupt. We closed the lottery.
There's
nah.
No,
but I would always just be thinking that, like, oh no, sorry.
And,
there's just
and $14 million.
Yeah,
I mean, if you got 5%,
well, if you would,
okay, you're still going to make what 700?
Yeah.
What would that be? I'm not going to do the math. I was about to do it in my head. I
look
decided
at me.
not to.
But if you invested wisely,
if it was 10%, it'd be $1.4 million a year. So 5% would be $700,000 a year. You'd get off interest.
So
but you'd have 14 in the can.
Yeah, you'd never actually be spending any.
That'd be great.
Yeah, if you were smart. If you were smart about it.
Yeah, but I mean, that would also
and
be
a good investor could get you 5%, right?
Yeah, but we're talking lottery people, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, sometimes. But you're also talking like small town, family values kind of area with Greenville.
Yeah,
farmers and whatnot. So that'll probably be used to buy one combine.
Yeah, 18 VFW hauls.
Or somebody's going to take. Oh, you know what's going to happen? Hostile takeover of Clackles.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Somebody's going to go in there and just take over the orchard.
When I was a kid,
by some mercenaries.
It is. You wait.
When I was a kid, at the time, the biggest lottery ticket was the Lotto, and that was $1 million that you won.
Yeah.
But that obviously is a fortune. And a guy from our town won, and I don't know if he had money before he won the Lotto, but his job was he was a guy who repaired tires for farmers. Your tire gets a hole in it.
Yeah.
He goes
on
out
the
there
tractor. It's not like most farmers wouldn't have a spare. It's very expensive to buy a new tire. And if you needed a new tire, he could put it on. He'd show up in a beat-up old truck and fix it, and then you'd pay him cash. And they lived in a very modest house and everything else. And then they I was told, won $1 million on the Lotto. And if they did, not one thing changed to their credit. He might have retired a year later and moved to Florida.
Maybe, but
that's a little disappointing though. Like a guy like that, you want him to all of a sudden one day show up and he's like, Steve Martin in The Jerk, where he's got a bright yellow Trans Am with a painting hanging out of the back and he's got a big feather on a cap,
and he bought
he's just like the gaudiest bit of wealthy in the world.
Yeah, but still fixing tires.
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
of course. Still the same guy.
You can't give up your job.
No. You just stack 5 trailers on top of your existing one.
Yeah. Carries a goldfish in a bowl everywhere he goes just to be eccentric.
Yeah, we won the lottery, so we're going to travel overseas to Rosebush. We're going to head across the pond to Oil City.
I want to tell you, the best mud bog I ever went to was in Rosebush. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Oh, yeah?
Damn right it is.
That's where I saw Bull of the Woods get stuck in the mud. And they taunted Ernie, the driver. And he goes, oh, she's in heat.
Yeah.
Still funny 30 years later.
Rosebush, yeah. I mean, it's known as Michigan's Mud Bowl.
That's so beautiful.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Justin, do you have that other story I sent you?
Yes.
All right. Now, apparently there's a new bill that would mandate all-day kindergarten.
Oh, high five for the parents,
The
right?
headline said kindergarten is optional in Michigan. But it was in air quotes. So can parents choose not to send their kids to kindergarten? Now pick it up when you're 7.
I thought all the schools were all-day kindergarten now.
I don't think so.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it is where we're at. And
no,
like
because
where
you
I
had
grew
half
up.
days, right? Well, wait, your
we
son's
did,
not.
but that was 40 years ago.
No, I meant you for your. I meant you for your son.
mean,
but then I realized he's not in kindergarten.
No, he's in preschool.
He had like half day preschool at some
Yeah,
point.
my son's was all day. Liam's will be all day next year.
Yeah, send him, get him
Like,
out of there.
I thought that they were all day.
Well, they can't afford to fall behind now.
No, they can't.
Have you already started
Actually,
filling out college applications?
It's dog eat dog.
I actually wish that more school districts would start trying the all-year school.
I think that's better.
Where they have multiple shorter breaks built in.
That seems to make so much sense to me, and so few districts have done it. Like where I grew up, there was one of the 6 elementary schools does that. Mm-hmm. Just one. All the rest of them are on the regular year schedule. But yeah, the idea that you're on for like 6 weeks, then you have 2 weeks off. Then you're on for 6 weeks, or whatever it is, or 1 week off.
They all
However it
need to
shakes
do
out.
that, though.
But yeah, I mean,
because you don't want to be the weird kid who has a week off when no one else does.
Well, the parent, I know there's at least one local school district who did it, probably a bunch of them. But I was just talking to a parent, and they said, yeah, we did it at our school for a while, but everybody hated it because everybody's so ingrained in planning vacations and everything else.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have a random 2-week period where you need to find childcare. And it was difficult, something you'd get used to if that's what you dealt with. But like you said, as long as the rest of the quote-unquote machinery is set up to handle summers off.
Right.
It would have been easier to do when we were kids, when you had many more stay-at-home moms.
Yeah, you didn't have
when everybody works, it's obviously a little bit more difficult.
Didn't have the internet and TV to poison the brains of the kids at home. Just a stick in a hoop.
Well, let's get the details about this new bill.
Yeah, I want to hear
that
about
says it'll
this.
mandate kindergarten.
That kindergarten is optional in Michigan. A new bill in the Michigan legislature would require all children to go to kindergarten and stay for the full day. And as WCZM 13's Nina DeSaro reports, this measure is catching many parents and school leaders by surprise.
It is?
I have to imagine it's catching them by surprise because they didn't know that kindergarten was optional.
Like so antiquated.
Plus, how many parents don't want their kids to go to kindergarten? Most people, like us, I mean, Carrie's a stay-at-home mom, but it's like, oh, finally, they're going to be in all-day school.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems insane.
Yeah.
Michigan is one of about 30 states that does not mandate kindergarten. When we first started calling local school districts about this new legislation, we caught one administrator by surprise. That person thought kindergarten was already mandatory in Michigan.
Right. Well, I don't feel
blame
bad
them.
then.
Yeah.
If an administrator doesn't know.
The new bill in Lansing would be a requirement for both Michigan school districts and the parents. The districts would have to offer all-day kindergarten, and parents would have to make sure their kids are enrolled and attending school.
Parents just have the option to bypass kindergarten altogether and just start that
That guy's
child
voice
in the
doesn't
first
match his face at all.
grade.
Michigan schools have been providing half-day kindergarten programs for years. 5 years ago, the state changed funding plans to favor full-day kindergarten. Sowerby is proposing a full day for all kindergartners.
Just like going into first grade, second grade, you have full-day school. And the important issue here is that children are getting the early education that they need to make it through their entire years of elementary and secondary education.
Sowerby says there are only 15 states and the District of Columbia that require parents to send their kids to kindergarten.
It's important that our children have the ability and all the tools available to them to excel in school.
The bill would require children 5 years old on or before September 1st to begin kindergarten that school year. If the child's birthday is after the...
I don't know. Some people like to hold their kid off for whatever developmental reason. I think saying they got to do it.
I don't think mandating it by age. I mean, unless there has to be exceptions in place.
I would have had to
I know a lot of people that I started late. Liam will start late. I know a lot of people, especially with boys. Boys have a tendency to start later, and a full school day is nice, but that's part of the reason why we kept Liam out for an extra year, is because we go, he is not ready for a whole day. That's a long time. And when they take the bus, like where we're at in relation to the school, we're about as far from the school as you can get. So Grayson's bus ride is 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's a long time to and from school, plus then, a 7-hour day or whatever it is. I mean, that is a long time for a little kid.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I started when I was 6 too.
It's kindergarten. Yeah. I mean, so they're playing most of the day.
Taking a nap.
Taking naps.
That's what you hope that they do. Yeah, that they're not
learning to bully.
Yeah.
I think the thing is like, I think that probably is the way to go. Maybe kids should be kept home longer, but if it's you, I know that you are doing what you should as a parent, which is, preparing them anyway.
Yes.
But when they're talking, if someone's 5, they have to come to kindergarten, they're probably talking about those, or it's based on those kids who it's like, all right, time to learn colors.
Yes, where they're, yeah. Like where the teachers have to send home the note that say, all right, well, they can't wipe.
Yeah, exactly.
It is shocking how many can't do some of those things.
Yeah, like we told you.
Like Liam is more behavioral, but you do get a lot of kids that they don't know any of their letters yet.
Yeah, all they know is safety scissors and eating paste.
You go, how can you not know? By the time you're 5, how do you not know your basic shapes? I mean, unless there's actually a problem.
Well,
but if they're not. Yeah, if there's not, and if it's just that you haven't taught your kids colors and stuff, and
that's so common, man.
Oh, I know. It's sad.
Good.
My wife's a kindergarten teacher, and I was having a conversation.
That's an advantage. Yeah. Right.
I was talking with her last night about this, and she has to email parents and say, "Hey, these are things you should be working on with your kid. How come it's not happening?" So she's actually, as a teacher, has to hold the parents accountable.
Yeah.
Because, hey, did you read last night? Even in kindergarten, you have homework. Mm-hmm. Read to your kid for 5 minutes. That's the homework for the parent to the kid.
Well, I already went through kindergarten. Why do I still have homework?
Yeah, because this time they want you to learn to read.
I'm super good at kindergarten.
It's your responsibility. So what's going to happen if they mandate it is a lot of these kids are going to be held back and end up going to kindergarten twice because they weren't ready for the first time.
Yeah.
Which takes away from the environment in the classroom, because if one kid's not ready, imagine what it does to the other 26 kids.
Right.
Yeah. It's a complete distraction. It's hard for the teacher, and they don't support the teachers here as well as I feel like they should.
Yeah.
It's just a pain in the ass for everybody.
Well, I would agree with that in almost every place.
Yes.
A little more here.
The first, they will begin in the next school year.
Studies have shown that early education, especially through kindergarten, helps them to excel in subsequent years.
A statement by Grand Rapids Public Schools reads in part, "We have concerns about the impact this has on local control and the ability of our superintendent and school board to determine how best we can meet the needs of our students and families, and what educational models may work best with half-day or full-day kindergarten. In this case, we have Montessori public schools that offer half-day kindergarten because it aligns best with the Children's House model of Montessori."
Now, I spoke with Dr. Mike Scheibler, the superintendent for Rockford Public Schools. He says if this is passed, this legislation could be a big issue as far as making parents send their kids to kindergarten, because there are some parents who choose to bypass that level of education. House Bill 4250 was introduced last week and is now being considered by a committee.
It would be dumb of me, and something I would have done at certain times, to pretend I know what other parents are going through, why they might choose to skip it. But I didn't even know that was a thing.
No.
So it's a little hard to wrap my head around it. But
I didn't either.
It's one thing to delay it, like what you guys are doing, Howings, but to just go, don't need it.
Totally, man.
Just for the socialization and everything else.
But in some cases, if you feel like you're already basically giving your kid the basics that they would get in kindergarten, and you do find other ways to socialize them in a variety of ways, then, whatever.
Of course.
Not everybody sends their kids to preschool.
Right.
And it's not that much different than preschool. So if by the time they go to first grade, if they can write the alphabet and they can do their basic stuff and they know what 1 + 1 is, okay, well, fine. They're gonna fit in fine,
right?
They're gonna
That's
know
fine.
all that stuff. I don't have a problem with that if that's how they want to do it. But.
Do whatever you want, man. I am happy for you guys that your kids will be the cream of the crop when it comes time to
no pressure.
Yeah, getting a job.
So. Yeah, just be happy. That's all.
Rising above.
We're shooting for happy.
Yeah.
Lincoln Park.
Oh, it's this Britney Spears song.
Lincoln Park is in hot rotation at the end of our show right now. A lot of Lincoln Park.
So toxic.
Faint. 97.9 GRD Rocks.